Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew. And today specifically, we are going to be doing Geek Rants. That is, of course, Geek Rants with Ike. So, I am here. I am ready. Got my coffee. Got my iPad. This is what I do most of my reading and research on because, that's how I do it. So, today with Geek Rants, so the last few times I've done Geek Rants, I've done a couple different things. Honestly, a lot of them have been movie related. One of them was anime related. So I wanted to kind of broaden my horizons just a little bit. And today I am going to also talk about anime. So for folks that don't know, I am a very large fan of, both large in size and in amount of love towards the series. I'm a very large fan of Dragon Ball Z. So Dragon Ball Z, for folks who don't know, is probably, honestly, it's one of those animes that it's been around since like the 90s. There is a series called Dragon Ball in the early 90s. It essentially formulated and evolved into Dragon Ball Z, which then formulated and evolved into two different series. One was Dragon Ball GT, which was not as well received with fans, and then eventually that was retconned with a different series called Dragon Ball Super. In addition to that, Dragon Ball Z has, for a lot of times, they have redone, re-released, and recut different episodes. They've made many movies that fit into the canon somehow, some way, and they've been doing this since the 90s. Now, today, my primary topic is not just to talk about Dragon Ball Z. Today, in fact, my primary topic that I wanted to talk about is how I feel that a character is very underutilized. What character, you may ask? Today, I'm going to talk about why Piccolo is probably one of the most underrated and underutilized characters in the series. Let's go. Alright, so Piccolo. Now, to kind of talk about Piccolo a little bit, we're going to start with where Piccolo came from. So in the original Dragon Ball series, there was a character called Demon King Piccolo. Demon King Piccolo, and this is just a brief description, I'm not going to go too in detail, but Demon King Piccolo was a Namekian, but he was evil. He terrorized Earth previously, and he was actually, if I'm not mistaken, he was trapped in a technique called Mafuba. It's a technique that was done by Master Roshi's master. It was like, I can't remember his name, but he did the Mafuba. It killed him, but it did indeed seal Demon King Piccolo away. Demon King Piccolo came back, terrorized folks for a while. Goku had to train, become stronger. As the series goes, he trained, he got stronger. He killed Demon King Piccolo, but not before Demon King Piccolo could regurgitate an egg. The egg that he regurgitated was the Namekian way of procreation. Basically, who he procreated was a different version of himself. And that different version was later named Piccolo Jr. Now, Piccolo Jr. Was first introduced in the Dragon Ball series. He first appeared, I should say. I think there was a... I'm trying to remember what it was that what it was specifically. Because sometimes my brain's a little slow here. But anyways, so basically his first appearance was actually at a World Martial Arts tournament to fight Goku. And he basically was talking about how he was going to, in addition to fight Goku, he was going to basically pick up where his father left off, and so on and so forth. And eventually Goku defeated him, but he didn't kill him. He didn't kill Piccolo. He just said, you know what, you're good, see ya. Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one chance to threaten the well-being of Earth, and then you get to go. So basically, that's kind of how Piccolo was introduced to the story. Which to me was a great introduction in Dragon Ball, and he was a very good character in Dragon Ball as well. And mind you, I've read the manga as well as I'll watch the anime. So I've definitely enjoyed seeing the different forms of Piccolo. That being said, he then later evolved because in the Dragon Ball series, the first saga, the Saiyan saga, during the beginning was the saga of Raditz, Goku's brother. That being said, Goku's brother came to Earth in an attempt to enlist Goku because he didn't know why Goku was still there. He didn't know that Goku was a good guy, but Raditz came and then shit happened. So after Raditz was defeated, I'm not going to go into every single detail, we start to see that character development of Piccolo. Now, Piccolo in the beginning, of course, was still somewhat evil, I think you could say, but he was at least starting to reform himself in some distinction. Specifically, what I mean by reform in this case is the fact that he was starting to train and take care of Goku's child, Gohan. Because Goku went to the afterlife and he went through Snake Way to train with King Kai, and then he would then come back to Earth. Now, that being said, Piccolo had the, the distinction and the ability to train Gohan, and a lot of folks didn't like that. I know a lot of Goku's friends were like, what the fuck, why is literally one of Goku's enemies doing this? So he starts to mesh the world between friend and enemy. And for lack of a better phrase, he did everything he could to train Gohan, to get Gohan, basically to train him and to make him able to fight the fight that he needed to fight. Because obviously we all know that Gohan was, if you watch the anime, Gohan was more of a pacifist even as a child, and he didn't exactly care for the fact that he had to fight. Now, Piccolo understood that to an extent, and he even destroyed the moon to prevent Gohan from turning into a great ape and so on and so forth. So, I'm not going to go through every single thing Piccolo's done. Per se, I'm not going to go through every saga, but I do want to touch on one other thing. Piccolo is also fused with other Namekians. During the Frieza saga, he fused with a Namekian on planet Namek called Nail. In addition to that, he also fused with the god, quote-unquote god, of Earth, which was Kami. So what does that mean? Basically, Piccolo is going to be probably the strongest Namekian that exists in the series. Because for Saiyans can go from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2 and blah, 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 blah. Namekians don't have that ability. Namekians can merge with one another, and they can do other various things to increase their strength. I know on planet Namek, I can't remember what they call him, Guru, I think it was. He was able to unlock like hidden potential, so maybe they could do that. So with Namekians, there's not as much of a what I would say, there's not as much plot armor to make them powerful. But Piccolo, for all intents and purposes, is very powerful. Just a couple examples is that he was able to take on second and third form Frieza, I believe, in the Frieza saga after he had fused with Nail, which nobody else was able to do until Goku showed up. He was arguably as strong as Vegeta to some extent. In addition to that, he was also able to take on first stage Cell, I believe. Yeah, first stage Cell. I think first stage Cell did get his arm, but there's that infamous scene where he just rips off his arm and regenerates a new one. That being said, he very much was able to fight these villains that were giving all the other protagonists such a hard time because of how powerful he was. And if I'm not mistaken, when he fought first stage Cell, he wasn't even fused with Kami yet. He was just trained. And if I remember correctly, he was able to some distinction, fight him again. I can't remember. It's been a while. But irregardless, he's proven time and time again in the series that he's quite powerful. Not only that, in Dragon Ball Super, he also was brought to the forefront because he had to fight in the Tournament of Powers. And he did hold up very well. He did get eliminated, of course, because, he's not the main character. But he definitely, for all intents and purposes, held up his end. He definitely carried his weight. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this, and I'm not going to go on for too much longer, but the reason I mention this is because I just want to lay down the groundwork here. I want to lay down the groundwork for who Piccolo is and why I think Piccolo is a good character. And this isn't necessarily just me thinking he's a good character. I feel like that's still pretty in turn for who Piccolo is. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition, and I'm going to tell you specifically why Piccolo is why he's underused and underrated, in my opinion, in the greater scheme of this. So for my final thoughts here, just to kind of wrap up everything that I've talked about and basically the purpose of this whole conversation with you guys. So Piccolo has been in this series almost as long as any other character has, in some way, shape, or form. That being said, Piccolo presents what I would say is the classic change of heart story. He was a villain who hated the Z Fighters, and then he eventually became a Z Fighter, right? So Piccolo's the classic underdog in that case, where he just starts off having issues, and then he eventually evolves into a character that's completely redeemable. And not only that, but also he is able to turn a new leaf, and what I think that a lot of people miss or don't recognize about Piccolo's not only just a good guy, but he's also a powerful character, and he has the ability to become stronger. Because here's my primary thing here is that if other characters can be provided plot armor to make them more powerful, if we can write 150 chapters of if we can write 150 chapters about how Goku can continue to power up and how he can unlock different forms miraculously, something tells me that we could do the same for Piccolo. And don't get me wrong, I know the whole dealio is about Goku. I know that for a fact. I mean, it's Dragon Ball Z. Everybody knows that the main character is Goku. But even in stories where the main character is so prominent, like in Dragon Ball Z, there are still times where other entities in the story are able to be provided some kind of resemblance of a fair fight in a way. So without going on for too much longer, I do want to say that I think that they could definitely, if they wanted to, they could definitely give Piccolo a fair shot. All right, let's be honest. They did it for everybody else. They did it for Vegeta. I mean, Vegeta's probably the biggest underdog here. I mean, he literally went from being quite literally the evilest person on the television show, arguably one of the evilest people on the television show, with probably one of the largest body counts on the show. He went from that to being, again, essentially another version of Goku in a way. So here's what I will end with here is that Piccolo deserves a shot at being the big guy, being the strong man, being the person that saved the day. He deserves a shot at being that, rather than just being a side character who, for all intents and purposes, not that he's getting looked over, but to some distinction is getting looked over. So here's what I want. I want to see Akira Toriyama or whomever does the new show. I would love to see two things. I would love to see Gohan be brought back to the spotlight. I mean, after the Cell Saga, he was the big guy. He was the strong guy. He was, everybody foretold that he was going to be the strongest and blah, 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 blah. And then they just kind of threw him away. He got a little bit better with Dragon Ball Super. But even then, at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, he was not as much of a player as he was at during the Tournament of Power. And then in addition to that, I would love for them to actually show a Piccolo who maybe had to fuse with a few more Nameks, or Namekians, I'm sorry, or whatever the case may be. But he needs to be a little more powerful, and he needs to be pushed a little more. And I feel like if that character could be created and projected onto everybody else, we could see a very popular, very powerful, very characteristic character who has this character development from years of writing and animation that could definitely play into his own benefit. So that being said, I'm not going to continue to ramble on, but come on, guys. Give me a Piccolo that can defeat Goku. That's all I want. I want Piccolo to defeat Goku. I know that he wasn't supposed to because he was the villain, but I feel like we deserve a powerful Piccolo, a Piccolo powerful enough to defeat the Saiyan. All right. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Go ahead and give us a like and share and a follow. I know this is just kind of a rambling about why I think Piccolo's great. Piccolo fan club, I'm going to start that. But that being said, I hope everybody's doing great out there. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. And as always, go ahead and find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Both of the links in the description and at the end of the video. Pardon me. I need to drink some water, I think. But everybody out there, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and keep on growing. See ya.